This is War Room Moments, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and most relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. War Room Moments is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board. Here's your host, Jason Miller.
Welcome to today's episode of War Room Moments. Today, I have Melanie, the Mountain Mama, with us today. And Melanie, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, tell us about your company, and tell us what your superpower is.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. My name is Melanie. I'm the CEO of Mountain Mama LLC. What my family of companies does is we create CBD products for humans and pets. We make tinctures, topicals, all kinds of different CBD stuff. My superpower is that I know how to create these things and target them towards specific situations that people are facing so that I can help them to feel better. And so what we do is we make people feel better without any THC or narcotics.
Yeah. Well, and I have firsthand experience with the product. So I'm a firsthand user of it, and it's a great product. If you've never tried it, at least try it and see if it works for you, right? I mean, that's kind of the thing is not all things work for all people, but if you don't try it, you'd never know. And I think the biggest thing I learned is, with working with you and whatnot, is CBD doesn't have THC in it. And a lot of people still believe the myth that it does, right? A distinction that I would like to make between your company and a lot of other companies is Mountain Mama actually creates her own product, right? Where a lot of these other companies do not. They're just wholesaling it from somewhere else, whatever the case may be. And the cool thing about Mountain Mama is she produces all of her own stuff, and that's amazing. All done in Montana, and my home state too. Go Montana.
Yep.
And that's what sets her so much apart. And again, I have firsthand experience with it. So kind of leading up into the CBD conversation, what would you really, if you could impart like 5 or 10 minutes of time of discussion that we could have here on CBD, on educating people on CBD and what it is, what it isn't, and all those different things?
Well, first of all, there are different kinds of extracts and distillates that create the highest cannabinoid extract that we use in our products and other CBD companies use in their products. There are really mainly 4 different CBD strong extracts. One is called full spectrum. Full spectrum does have a trace amount of THC, and trace amount is considered 0.03% or less. THC does accumulate in your body in the fat cells. So if you are using a CBD that is a full spectrum, eventually after prolonged use, you will start to show some THC in your system. However, what makes Mountain Mama different is we are using a THC-free broad spectrum distillate. It's grown here in Montana, and we take a chunk of their broad spectrum THC-free extract and make it into our products that are all, like you said, my own recipe and my own design. Most of our products on our shelf were originally something that somebody had asked me about. For example, there was an old friend of mine who was having trouble sleeping. And so he says, can you just make me a topical that can help me sleep? And I said, well, let's see what we can do. And so I spent a little bit of time researching and figuring out what to put together. And I ended up putting together a topical product we have called Atomic Peace. And that was 3 years ago. And ever since then, it has been my top selling product for the last 3 years. There's other distillates called isolate. If you get CBD isolate, that has only the CBD cannabinoid in it, no other cannabinoids. There are also CBG isolates, which is cannabidiol, which is very popular right now in the anxiety and sleep realm. There's also CBN, and that deals a lot with focus and energy. These are a lot of things that Mountain Mom is looking into for the future. And again, you just creating every month. I have ideas about what I'm supposed to be doing to create more products, and we have a really good selection here for we'd have a great pet section too. We have such a great following of pet owners who love our pet tinctures that I literally buy bacon flavoring by the gallon because we use so much of it. And if you saw what was back there in my row of bacon flavoring, you would go, that's gross. It's very, very popular, and our pet owners are very happy. They all the time I hear dog owners especially who come in who have older dogs, and they come back for their second bottle and they say, he's like a puppy again, and she's running around chasing her ball again, or something like that, whereas before they just were in a lot of pain, or so the pet stuff has been really popular as well.
Right. It's amazing. What motivated you to want to get into this industry?
Initially, I just started, I've been in business almost 5 years. When I very first started, I was just kind of doing body butters and sugar scrubs and just, self-care products for women. And but a lot of people were doing that, and that market was very, very saturated. And I thought, I need to do something to make my product stand out from everybody else's. And I had heard of this CBD stuff. I do come from a background in previous years where I was involved in the medical marijuana industry. And I thought, I bet you I could add some CBD to this body butter. And at first, that was in 2017. So before the 2018 Farm Bill, CBD was still, legal to consume, and as long as it was imported. So I was bringing it in from the UK. It was extremely expensive, but it was catching on. But I quickly came to realize that education needed to happen, because people either kind of knew about it, or they thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're trying to peddle this in my store right now. You need to leave and don't ever come back. And I thought, okay, people don't understand what this is. So I did CBD school. I taught people for an hour on Saturday mornings what CBD was all about. I went on radio. I had a TV commercial. I've done so much education over the last 3 years about CBD. I have a pretty robust learning blog section on my website. The second website, I'm sort of beefing that one up as well as the time passes. That website's only a couple of weeks old, and so over some time I'll be sure to get some more blogs up there. But education has really been a main focus of what I do, simply because people don't know, or they think they know, or they're just kind of curious and they want to ask some questions. So
yeah, well, I'm fascinated with the whole thing because, like I said in the beginning, I'm like my own case study through it. And, a lot of military veterans out there that could be listening that maybe do struggle from a little bit of post-traumatic stress or just can't sleep or whatever the case may be. I got to tell you that it has an impact on some of that. I'm not saying it cures it. It's not a cure-all. But what it can do and what it did for me is really helps me sleep. Is really helps me sleep a little better through the night, so on and so forth. And that's gold, right? I mean, if something
People find
even
that
if it just helps you.
if people get a good night's sleep, it affects every other aspect of their waking life. They have less anxiety. There's studies that prove that if you get a good night's sleep, your anxiety level will go down. Your energy level, of course, goes up. Your metabolic system operates differently if you are well rested or lacking in sleep. There's so much that, so just getting a good night's sleep really, really is helpful.
Right. And you can do this without having to have a bunch of THC in your body or, any of those kind of things. Like I'm a unicorn. I have never in my entire life consumed THC ever. I've never had any kind of marijuana stuff. I've always been like, I grew up in that family that all of that was like the devil. Right. So,
right.
And now like all of my neighbors are like 80 plus and they all take, the marijuana versions to help them sleep and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And one of my neighbors brought me some over one day and it sat on the shelf in my garage for almost a year because I just didn't feel right. And then I didn't feel right taking it because it had THC in it. And then I met you. so that inevitably went in the garbage. I never tried it. It changed my life in a lot of different ways for sure. And I'll always be grateful for that for sure. So if you would say in business, right? Because part of the focus of this podcast is, you and I are becoming the old dogs of business now, right? So it's like we've got all this new generation of business owners coming up. And, I know I personally feel like it's our responsibility as, the elder business owners to help them not take the arrows in the back if they don't have to. Right. So, because I don't feel like my generation above me really did that very well for me. So part of it for me is how can I help the generation below me? And how we're really doing that with this podcast is everybody shares a struggle. So, and we'll collect struggles, right? And if you're out there listening thus far, you've collected tons of struggles of what people have had. So they in turn don't have to have the same struggles. So what's been a struggle for you through your business career that, you had struggled with, but then you also overcame?
I think probably the biggest struggle I had as a business owner is giving myself some grace. As the owner, we're always looking over reports and we're figuring out what's selling and what's not selling and how much money is coming in and so we can make decisions. And I always used to laugh at myself because if we had one bad sales day, and my mind would be like, oh, great, the business is over. I'm folding, everything's over. But really, it's not. You just need to understand that every day is not going to be your best sales day every day. As long as you are continuing to chisel away at your business and you are making forward progress every day, then you're doing great. What is this statistic? I think it's 80% of businesses fail between the third and the fifth year. Mm-hmm. And so I am 4 months away from my 5-year anniversary. So I'm so excited. I'm going to just do great things. I do understand that just because I've made my 5-year anniversary doesn't mean that everything's going to be golden forever, but I am going to let myself celebrate the successes. And I think people need to let themselves celebrate their successes. Learn, if you're trying something and it's just not working, it's not working. Learn how to make it work. Bring in people who know how to do stuff. If I don't have an MBA or any kind of a degree in business or anything, I surround myself with people who know what they're doing. People like the SAB people. And that is, as long as you are willing to bring people in and let go of a little bit of control and decision making, and swallow your pride a little bit to ask the questions that need to be asked, you are going to learn so much and your business is going to benefit a lot from that.
Yeah, you said something key right there. Swallow your pride. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know something, that's okay, right? Swallow your pride.
Nobody knows everything.
Right. And I think a lot of people, they get caught up in that. It's my baby, it can only be done this way, and I'm not going to listen to other avenues of approach. And that's a very fatal mistake. And I think at some point we've all fell into that at some point, especially when we're a new business owner. So this is the key moment to listen. Ding, ding, ding. When you're a new business owner, don't be afraid to do a couple things. Don't be afraid to get good advisement, and don't be afraid to fail, right? Yep. Because you're going to fail, and you're going to fail a lot of times, right? But the failure only makes you stronger. And on all of my podcasts, we end up talking about at some point why everybody's not a business owner, because it's not easy. Right? Because if it were, everybody would be doing it, right? So, you're gonna have some struggles, some fights through some things, and I just think you captured it at its very best essence there by saying that, for sure. Yeah. And if you were to drop one single golden nugget of business experience of your last 5 years in business, to say a 22-year-old that is just starting a business today, what would that be?
Do not let your ego drive the bus. If you let your ego drive the bus and make the decisions that you are making regarding your brand new business, you are going to crash into a wall every single time. Don't let your ego drive the bus. It'll cost you a lot of money, I promise you.
Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet, but it's really, really true, right? And again, I think when you're young, you have all these ideas and you just think they're the best in the world, and you're like, everybody's going to buy this. Well, maybe not, right? Doesn't mean you stop, but it means you do the research, right? Or you consult with people who've been there, done that, right? First, before you do any of that. So anyway, well, that was a great piece of advice for the audience, for sure. And, one of the last things I like to ask is, if you could pick somebody to be here with us today, that dead or alive, they either influenced your life, there could be a family member, whatever the case may be, a mentor, who would that be and why would you choose them?
Well, I have a dead example and an alive example.
Okay, great.
My deceased person example would be Abraham Lincoln, because he started like 9 businesses or something before he started the one that made him successful before he became the president. But he just, like we've been talking about, he just kept trying and kept trying. He was like, well, that's not working. Let's do this. Okay, well, that's not working. Let's do this. And so he had the example of he didn't let his ego drive the bus, and he just kept on trying, and he kept on trying, and he realized what wasn't working, and accepted that, and moved on and figured out what was working. My alive example would probably be Glenn Beck, because he is, all politics aside, his business mind, he has a huge, big picture mind. And he also knows how to surround himself with people who know what they're doing. And I would like to consider myself to be one of those people one day, somebody who has a big picture mind. I'm not quite there yet. I still have quite a bit of growing to do, but I really, really enjoy being around people who have the big picture, who can see the big picture and follow the trail back to from where I am and be able to forge the path from here to there.
Yeah. Well, I can say your mind has grown tons since you and I have met, right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure on that big picture thinking stuff. So
Right.
I've seen that happen in you just over the past year. So definitely give yourself a lot of credit for that, because you get an A+ in my book for big picture thinking.
Well, you guys opened the door to some ideas that I thought, oh, that, yes. And then I could just, we can just keep going down those roads,
Yeah, right. And it's endless, maybe it's a cheesy statement, right? But the world truly can be our oyster, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just have to create the pathways to make it that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to do it for us.
Nope.
At the end of the day, we have to, as business owners, do the work. And, but it's there, it's available. And sometimes it just seems like it's right there. You're just about to touch it. And it's like,
yep,
poof.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But then you just
have to keep doing the next right thing.
You just get up, dust yourself off, and keep on moving. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, anyway, thank you for all that. Melanie, tell us about how people can get a hold of you, how people can get your product, all that good stuff.
So my website is stillwaterhemp.com. That website has all of our offerings on it, including the pet items and the people items and tinctures and topicals, etc. And then we have a topicals only website that is called thcfreetopicals.com. And that's where you can find all of our topical products. And then we have our Facebook, our social media. We have Facebook and other social medias associated with both of those websites. You can either find us at Mountain Mama or THC Free Topicals are the social media names. We're located in Columbus, Montana. You can call our office here at area code 406-290-5050. I take phone orders all the time. I talk to people, answer questions all the time. You can read the blog on the website. There's a lot of information up there. If you go to the website, you'll find everything you need to know.
Right. And I would suggest that if you've thought about CBD at any point in your life, at least try it. Go to Mountain Mama, give it a try, see if it's right for you. And I almost guarantee you'll be hooked, and not in a bad way either. So anyway, thank you, Melanie, for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to spend some time with me today and make people a little more aware of CBD and hopefully help out a new business owner that's coming up.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for listening into this episode of War Room Moments. Remember, always dream it, believe it, and achieve it. This is Jason Miller, your host, signing off.
Thanks for listening to War Room Moments with your host, Jason Miller. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.